What if the grocery stores shut down tomorrow? Would your pantry be ready, or would your food go bad before you even had the chance to use it? In today's video, we're counting down 20 foods that never expire, not for a year, not even 10. These are real survival foods that can outlive you if stored right. Some are so overlooked, most people don't even realize they're basically immortal. Whether you're prepping for a crisis, saving money, or just building a smarter kitchen, you're about to learn which foods will never go to waste. Stick around till the end because the last 5 on our list are the most surprising, including one pantry item you've probably thrown away, but it could outlast decades. Welcome to the channel, the place where preparation meets peace of mind. If you're into smart living, survival hacks, or just want to waste less food, subscribe now and hit the bell so you never miss a tip that could change your life. Number 1. Honey never spoils. Before we talk about the dozens of high-tech freeze-dried meals and shelf-stable survival kits, let's start with something ancient, something that's probably already in your kitchen. Honey? Yes, real, raw honey. This golden syrup has been found still edible in ancient Egyptian tombs, perfectly preserved after thousands of years. No refrigeration, no preservatives, just honey, doing what honey does. What makes it so powerful? Honey is naturally low in moisture and extremely acidic. That makes it a hostile environment for bacteria and mold. Microorganisms simply can't survive in it. Over time, it may crystallize or thicken, but that's not spoilage, it's just a natural shift. You can warm it up and it returns to its smooth form like nothing happened. And here's a lesser-known fact, honey can also heal wounds. During World War I, soldiers used honey as a natural antibacterial dressing on the battlefield. Even today, hospitals use medical-grade honey in burn units. But it's not just for emergencies. In a crisis where sugar is scarce or expensive, honey becomes your sweetener, medicine, and energy source all in one. It has glucose and fructose, so it gives a quick energy boost, perfect for survival situations or long-term storage. Just make sure you're stocking pure, raw honey. Many commercial brands are heavily processed or diluted with syrups, which may affect shelf life. Look for local or organic options in glass jars or food-grade containers. It's one of the very few foods that truly lasts forever without needing a single chemical added. Number 2, pure maple syrup. It looks simple, sweet, harmless, but pure maple syrup is far more powerful than it appears. This isn't the fake stuff you drizzle on pancakes from a plastic bottle. We're talking about 100% real maple syrup, tapped from tree sap, boiled down, and bottled with nothing else added. And here's the secret. When stored correctly, it doesn't spoil. Yes, like honey, real maple syrup can last years, even decades, without going bad. The reason? It's naturally high in sugar and low in moisture, which makes it resistant to bacteria and mold. If unopened and kept in a cool, dark place, maple syrup stays safe almost indefinitely. Even once opened, it can last a full year in the fridge, or longer if you freeze it. But here's something most people don't know. It's been used as medicine. Native Americans didn't just use maple syrup for flavor, they used it as a natural remedy to treat fatigue and boost stamina. It's packed with manganese, zinc, and antioxidants, nutrients your body needs in a crisis when food variety is low. And in a survival pantry, maple syrup becomes a valuable trade item. It's calorie-dense, comforting, and versatile. You can use it in baking, drinks, marinades, or even on stale bread to make it taste like a treat. Just make sure you're buying pure maple syrup, not maple-flavored corn syrup. Check the label. There should be only one ingredient. And when stored in glass or food-grade metal containers, it can sit on your shelf for years, just waiting to sweeten the tough times. Number 3, salt. It's cheap. It's everywhere. But salt isn't just a seasoning, it's a lifesaver. Pure table salt, sea salt, or rock salt, when stored properly, never expires. It's one of the oldest known preservatives in human history. Ancient civilizations used salt to cure meat, preserve fish, and keep food edible for months, long before refrigeration existed. Why doesn't it spoil? Salt is a natural mineral, not an organic substance. It doesn't break down or rot. Microorganisms can't survive in high salt environments. That's why salt has been found in prehistoric caves, still perfectly usable after thousands of years. But it's more than just shelf-stable. In survival situations, salt becomes multifunctional. You can use it to clean wounds, it stings but it works, soothe sore throats as a gargle, preserve vegetables and meats through fermentation or curing, even melt ice in freezing weather. And here's a lesser known trick. Salt can be mixed with baking soda to make a natural toothpaste or used to create oral rehydration solutions when someone is dehydrated. It's not just seasoning, it's stability. It never needs refrigeration or special packaging. Just keep it in a sealed, moisture-free container away from humidity. Skip the iodized with additives version if you're storing long-term. Go for natural sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, pure and untouched. In a world that can change overnight, salt stays the same. Permanent, powerful, prepared. Number 4, apple cider vinegar or plain vinegar. It smells sharp, it tastes strong, but vinegar might be one of the most underrated survival foods in your home. Whether it's apple cider vinegar, white vinegar, or balsamic, one thing stays the same. Vinegar doesn't expire. That's right. When stored properly, vinegar can last forever. Its high acidity creates an environment where bacteria and mold can't survive. And even if it looks a little cloudy over time, that's just the mother. A natural byproduct of fermentation. It's harmless and actually good for you. But vinegar isn't just about shelf life. It's a multi-tool in a bottle. In survival situations, apple cider vinegar can preserve fruits and vegetables through pickling, soothe sore throats and aid digestion, act as a natural cleaner and disinfectant, even help repel insects when sprayed around the home. Here's something few people know. In ancient times, vinegar was used to purify water. Roman soldiers carried it in their rations. And in early American households, it was considered medicine, used to treat infections, colds, and even wounds. If you're stockpiling for the long term, keep at least one large bottle of apple cider vinegar and one of white vinegar. White vinegar is perfect for cleaning, disinfecting, and preserving. Apple cider vinegar brings extra health benefits and is safe to drink when diluted. Just store it in a cool, dark place, sealed tight, no refrigeration needed, no expiration date to worry about. It's not just a pantry item, it's a lifesaver in disguise. Number 5, bouillon cubes. They're tiny, they're dry, and they might just save your meals and your mood when fresh food runs out. We're talking about bouillon cubes, those little blocks of concentrated flavor that never seem to go bad. Chicken, beef, vegetable, or mushroom, whatever the flavor, bouillon cubes are a powerful pantry item. Why? Because when kept dry and sealed, bouillon cubes can last for years, even decades. They're made from dehydrated stock, salt, fat, and spices, ingredients that are all naturally shelf-stable. But don't let their size fool you. These cubes are survival gold. In an emergency or long-term power outage, meals get bland, fast. Bouillon adds instant flavor to rice, pasta, or beans, soups, stews, and canned veggies. Even plain hot water for a warm broth that boosts morale. And here's a survival secret. One single cube can transform a pot of plain food into something that actually tastes like home. That might sound small, but in stressful situations, flavor matters. A warm, savory broth can lift spirits, increase appetite, and make tough conditions a little easier to handle. Plus, bouillon is light, compact, and cheap. You can store hundreds of servings in just one small jar or bag. No refrigeration, no waste. Just drop a cube into boiling water and you're good to go. To make them last even longer, keep them in an airtight container away from heat and moisture. Vacuum sealing or Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers can stretch their shelf life even further. Bouillon cubes don't just flavor your food, they stretch your resources one pot at a time. Number 6, white rice. It's plain, it's simple, but when things go wrong, white rice becomes one of the most powerful foods you can have. Why? Because white rice, when stored properly, can last 30 years or more. Yes, 30 years. That's not a guess. That's been tested by survival experts and food storage labs. The secret is in how you store it. Keep it dry, airtight, and away from heat or light. Vacuum-sealed bags or Mylar pouches with oxygen absorbers are best. Do that, and white rice can outlast most packaged survival food. But what makes it so valuable? White rice is calorie-dense, easy to cook, extremely filling, and a perfect base for mixing with canned or preserved foods. In a disaster, when fresh food is gone and every calorie counts, rice gives you long-burning energy. It's also easy to digest, which makes it ideal for kids, the elderly, or anyone recovering from illness. Here's a lesser-known tip. White rice is also less oily than brown rice, which is why it lasts longer. Brown rice contains natural oils that go rancid over time. White rice doesn't, making it the better choice for long-term storage. You can eat it plain, mix it with beans, add bouillon, stir in canned veggies, or even make survival rice pudding with powdered milk and honey. It's cheap, it's reliable, and in a crisis, it becomes the foundation of your food supply. Don't underestimate it. A few big bags of white rice could feed your family for months, maybe even save your life. Number 7, pasta. It's one of the most comforting foods in the world, and it's also one of the smartest to stockpile. Pasta, especially traditional dried varieties like spaghetti, penne, or macaroni, can last for years when stored properly. And in survival terms, it checks every box. Long shelf life, high energy, easy to cook, and extremely versatile. When kept in a cool, dry place, ideally in airtight packaging or sealed containers, pasta can easily stay good for a decade or more. Some preppers even vacuum seal it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers to stretch its life closer to 20 years. That's not marketing hype, that's real-world food storage science. Unlike some foods that break down over time, pasta is made from semolina wheat and contains very little moisture, which means it resists spoilage when untouched by air or humidity. And here's something many people don't know. Pasta absorbs flavor incredibly well, so even if you're stuck with limited ingredients, adding a little bouillon, canned veggies, or powdered cheese can turn plain noodles into a satisfying, morale-boosting meal. During war, famine, and natural disasters, pasta has remained a survival staple around the world. It cooks quickly, fills you up, and doesn't require refrigeration. In short, it delivers comfort and calories when you need them most. So whether you're planning for a power outage or building a long-term emergency food supply, pasta deserves a place on your shelf. Just make sure it's stored properly and it'll be ready for you 5, 10, even 15 years down the line. Number 8, rolled oats. Rolled oats might seem humble, but they're one of the most powerful and underrated foods you can keep in your emergency stockpile. Why? Because when stored correctly, oats can last up to 30 years. Yes, 3 full decades, without losing their nutritional value. It's not just their shelf life that makes them special. Oats are packed with fiber, iron, protein, and slow-burning carbohydrates, making them an ideal food when energy is limited and you need something that will keep you going. What's even better is how incredibly easy they are to store. Rolled oats contain very little natural oil, which is why they don't go rancid quickly like some grains do. If kept in airtight containers, preferably with oxygen absorbers and away from heat and moisture, they'll stay fresh and ready to eat for decades. They don't need refrigeration and won't spoil unless they're exposed to pests or water. In a survival situation, oats can be a breakfast, a snack, or even part of dinner. You can cook them traditionally with water or cold soak them if you're low on fuel. Mix them with honey, powdered milk, or dried fruit, and suddenly you have something warm, nutritious, and comforting. You can even grind them into flour for baking if you need to stretch your supplies. Few foods match oats in terms of value, shelf life, and versatility. Whether you're facing a food shortage, a long-term blackout, or just want to be better prepared, having a few large containers of rolled oats in your stockpile means you'll always have a reliable, nutrient-rich base for meals, no matter what comes your way. Number 9, quinoa, barley, millet, and buckwheat. Not all grains are created equal, and some of the oldest ones in history might just be your best bet for long-term survival. Quinoa, barley, millet, and buckwheat have fed civilizations for thousands of years, and there's a reason they're still going strong. These grains are incredibly durable, nutritious, and surprisingly easy to store for the long haul. When kept dry and airtight in sealed containers away from light and moisture, these grains can last 10 to 20 years, and sometimes even longer. What makes them different from common white rice or wheat is their nutrient density. Quinoa, for example, contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it a rare plant-based complete protein. Barley is rich in fiber and great for digestion. Millet is gentle on the stomach and gluten-free. Buckwheat, despite its name, is also gluten-free and packed with magnesium and antioxidants. These grains aren't just nutritious, they're incredibly versatile. You can boil them, grind them into flour, use them in soups, or combine them with beans for a full protein meal. In crisis situations where access to meat or dairy is limited, grains like these can help fill serious nutritional gaps. And here's a little known fact. Some of these grains, especially millet and buckwheat, are extremely drought resistant and have been used in famine zones across the world. That means even their production is built for tough times. So while they may not be as common as white rice or pasta in most pantries, these ancient grains earn their place in any serious stockpile. They store long, cook easily, and deliver nutrition when you need it most. Think of them as your quiet backup, ready to fuel you when everything else runs out. Number 10, cornstarch and powdered gelatin. They're not flashy, they're not even foods you eat on their own, but when it comes to long-term storage and practical survival uses, cornstarch and powdered gelatin are two unsung heroes of the prepper pantry. Let's start with cornstarch. The silky white powder may seem like a basic baking ingredient, but it has an almost indefinite shelf life when kept dry and sealed. It doesn't spoil, it doesn't go bad. As long as no moisture gets in, cornstarch can sit quietly in your pantry for 10 years or more, ready to thicken, sachi, or even heal. That's right. Aside from being a kitchen staple for sauces and gravies, cornstarch can also be used to treat minor skin irritations, rashes, or insect bites. In a crisis, that kind of versatility matters. Now, let's talk about powdered gelatin. This protein-rich substance, usually made from animal collagen, is often used in desserts and snacks, but in survival situations, it becomes much more than that. First, it lasts years, sometimes indefinitely if stored in a cool, dry place. Second, it can be a source of protein and amino acids when fresh meat is scarce. You can use it to bind foods together, stretch meals, or even help make homemade energy bars. Some survivalists even use it to make quick repairs to cracked or broken items, thanks to its sticky properties when rehydrated. These two items don't take up much space. They're cheap, they're lightweight, but in an emergency, they can help you cook better, feel better, and make the most of limited ingredients. Don't overlook them. Sometimes it's the smallest things in your pantry that carry the biggest value when things go wrong. Number 11, dried beans. If you had to pick just one food to keep you alive in a long-term emergency, dried beans would be a strong contender. They're simple, inexpensive, and incredibly powerful when it comes to survival nutrition. Best of all, if stored properly, dried beans can last 25 to 30 years or more and still remain edible and nutritious. These little legumes are nutritional giants. They're loaded with protein, fiber, complex carbohydrates, and essential minerals like potassium and iron. That means they don't just fill your belly, they actually fuel your body. In a world without grocery stores, beans can give you the strength to work, think, and survive. They're also extremely filling, which is critical when calories are limited and you need food that keeps you satisfied longer. But here's the thing most people don't realize. Not all beans are created equal when it comes to storage. Dried beans, not canned, are what you want. Canned beans are great for short-term needs, but dried beans are lightweight, compact, and built for decades of shelf life. They just need to be kept in airtight containers away from heat and moisture. Add oxygen absorbers or vacuum seal them, and you're locking in decades of stability. There's also an emotional side to beans. In tough times, warm comfort food matters. A bowl of beans with rice, spices, or bouillon can taste like a real home-cooked meal. And because there are so many types, black beans, kidney, navy, pinto, lentils, you won't get bored easily. Dried beans aren't glamorous, but they're dependable, nutritious, and long-lasting. In a survival scenario, that's exactly the kind of food you want on your side. Number 12, canned beans. If dried beans are the long game survival food, canned beans are your quick win. They come fully cooked, already seasoned in many cases, and ready to eat right out of the can. No soaking, no waiting, just open, heat if you can, and eat. In an emergency, when time, energy, or fuel are in short supply, that speed can make a huge difference. Canned beans typically last 2 to 5 years past the printed expiration date, but that's just the manufacturer being cautious. In reality, if the can is sealed, undamaged, and stored in a cool, dry place, the contents can remain safe and edible far longer. In fact, preppers and food researchers have opened canned beans over a decade old and found them completely fine. That makes them one of the most reliable items in your emergency stockpile. But canned beans aren't just convenient, they're nutrient dense. They're high in protein, rich in fiber, and packed with vitamins and minerals. And unlike many other canned foods, they're not just filler. They can be the base of a full, satisfying meal. Just a can of black beans and a scoop of rice can give you complete protein, sustained energy, and comfort in one simple dish. There's also variety. Kidney beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, black beans, navy beans. Each one brings different flavors, textures, and uses. You can mix them into soups, mash them for spreads, or just eat them straight. Plus, many canned beans include the cooking liquid, which can be used as a thickener or flavor enhancer if you're low on other ingredients. In short, canned beans are one of the smartest foods you can keep on your shelf. They're fast, filling, and don't need anything but a can opener, though even that's optional in true emergencies. Number 13, canned fish. When it comes to long-term protein that doesn't need a fridge or freezer, canned fish is one of the smartest and most underrated foods you can stockpile. Whether it's tuna, salmon, sardines, mackerel, or even canned chicken, these protein-rich foods are built to last. In most cases, canned fish stays good for 5 years or more, and like many canned goods, it can remain safe and edible well beyond that if stored properly. But shelf life is only part of the story. Canned fish is an incredibly nutrient-dense food. It's loaded with complete protein, essential omega-3 fatty acids, and key vitamins like B12 and D, nutrients that are hard to find in shelf-stable form. In survival situations, these can help with energy, brain function, and even immune support when fresh food is no longer available. Another major advantage, it's ready to eat straight from the can. No cooking, no water, no prep. That's a big deal when you don't have access to power, fuel, or clean water. And because it's already pressure cooked in the can, canned fish is safe and stable even in harsh storage conditions, making it perfect for bug-out bags, storm shelters, or long-term pantry setups. There's also variety. Tuna can go in cold salads or wraps. Salmon can be mixed with rice or pasta. Sardines can be eaten with crackers or mashed into a protein-rich spread. And most canned fish comes packed in water or oil, which adds extra calories and moisture, both valuable in a survival scenario. Just be sure to rotate your cans every few years and check for any signs of rust, dents, or bulging before using. But otherwise, canned fish is a high-value, no-fuss protein source that deserves a permanent spot in your emergency stash. Number 14, peanut butter and other nut butters. When it comes to survival foods that are both practical and comforting, peanut butter and other nut butters are hard to beat. They're rich, filling, calorie-dense, and they last surprisingly long on the shelf. An unopened jar of peanut butter can stay fresh for up to 2 years, and in reality, it often stays safe to eat even longer if stored in a cool, dry place. Almond, cashew, and sunflower seed butters have similar shelf lives, though the more natural and oil-rich they are, the sooner they may separate or spoil. But even with those natural oils, these spreads are ideal for long-term storage. Why? Because they pack an incredible nutritional punch into a small space. Just a couple tablespoons of peanut butter contain protein, healthy fats, fiber, and over 180 calories, which is critical when you're trying to stretch limited supplies. It doesn't require refrigeration until opened, it's easy to portion, and it can be eaten straight from the jar if needed. In an emergency, nut butters serve more than just physical needs, they're a morale booster. The familiar taste, the creamy texture, the energy boost, it all brings a bit of normalcy when everything else feels uncertain. You can spread it on crackers or bread, mix it into oats, add it to shakes, or just eat it with a spoon. It's survival food disguised as a treat. When stockpiling, go for commercial brands with added stabilizers for longer shelf life. Natural nut butters, while healthier, tend to separate and spoil faster unless refrigerated. Keep lids tightly sealed, store them away from heat, and rotate occasionally to keep your supply fresh. In short, peanut butter isn't just for sandwiches. It's a survival essential that delivers comfort, calories, and strength when it matters most. Number 15, powdered eggs and freeze-dried meats. In a world without refrigeration, protein becomes one of the hardest things to store. That's where powdered eggs and freeze-dried meats come in. They're lightweight, long-lasting, and surprisingly easy to use, making them essential for any serious emergency food supply. Let's start with powdered eggs. These are real eggs that have been dehydrated into a fine powder, preserving the nutrition without the need for cold storage. Properly packaged, powdered eggs can last 10 to 15 years, sometimes even longer, depending on how they're sealed. And they're not just for baking. Add water, and you can scramble them just like fresh eggs. They're high in protein, vitamin D, and healthy fats, and they can be used in everything from pancakes and omelets to survival bread and casseroles. Now, freeze-dried meat is in a class of its own. Unlike jerky, which still contains some moisture and has a shorter shelf life, freeze-dried meats are nearly 100% moisture-free. This gives them an incredible shelf life of 25 to 30 years when stored in Mylar bags or cans with oxygen absorbers. Beef, chicken, turkey, and even sausage. These meats are cooked, then freeze-dried, locking in flavor and nutrition for decades. In a crisis where fresh food is gone and energy is low, your body will crave real protein. Powdered eggs and freeze-dried meats deliver that in a compact, shelf-stable form. They're easy to rehydrate with water, cook quickly, and add real substance to rice, beans, soups, or pasta. They may not be glamorous, but they offer something even better: real fuel for your body and peace of mind for the future. Number 16, nuts, seeds, and trail mix in a survival situation. Calories matter. Every bite has to count, and that's where nuts, seeds, and trail mix truly shine. These foods are lightweight, nutrient-dense, and packed with the kind of energy your body needs under stress. Even better, when stored properly, they can last 1 to 2 years, and often longer if vacuum sealed or kept in airtight containers away from heat and light. Nuts, like almonds, peanuts, walnuts, and cashews, are full of healthy fats, protein, and fiber. Seeds, such as sunflower, chia, flax, and pumpkin, offer similar benefits, often with added minerals like magnesium, iron, and zinc. Together, they deliver long-lasting fuel in a small, portable package. They require no cooking, no water, and no prep, making them ideal for bug-out bags, emergency kits, or quick grab-and-go situations. Trail mix takes things one step further. Often a blend of nuts, seeds, dried fruit, and sometimes chocolate or granola, it combines fast energy with long-burning nutrition. And let's be honest, in the middle of a stressful event, a handful of trail mix can feel like a real treat. That emotional boost matters just as much as the calories when you're dealing with crisis fatigue. The key to long storage is keeping them cool, dark, and sealed tight. Because nuts and seeds contain natural oils, they can go rancid over time if exposed to air or heat. But when stored in vacuum-sealed bags, mason jars with oxygen absorbers, or even the freezer, you can dramatically extend their shelf life. In short, these are small but mighty foods, perfect for snacking, mixing into oatmeal, or giving your body a quick surge of strength when it needs it most. They may be simple, but they're survival smart. Number 17, powdered milk and shelf-stable dairy. When fresh milk is no longer an option and refrigeration is a luxury, powdered milk and shelf-stable dairy become survival essentials. They bring comfort, nutrition, and versatility to your food supply, and they last much longer than you might expect. In fact, powdered milk can stay good for 10 to 20 years when stored in sealed containers with oxygen absorbers. That's decades of dairy without needing a fridge. Powdered milk might not sound exciting, but it serves a critical role in emergency prep. It's rich in calcium, protein, and vitamin D, nutrients that are hard to come by in shelf-stable foods. When rehydrated with clean water, it can be used just like fresh milk, in cereal, coffee, baking, or even making creamy sauces and soups. And if you're trying to feed kids or keep morale up during long-term outages, something as simple as a glass of milk can feel like a return to normal. Shelf-stable dairy goes beyond milk powder. Think evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, and canned cream, all of which can last for 2 to 5 years unopened. These items are especially valuable for cooking, baking, or creating rich, high-calorie meals when fresh ingredients are gone. Some long-term storage companies even offer freeze-dried cheese and butter powder, which can last 15 to 25 years and bring back flavor and function in survival cooking. These dairy alternatives are lightweight, easy to store, and surprisingly adaptable. They don't just fill a gap, they open up a world of options in a crisis. When you can make pancakes, coffee, mashed potatoes, or mac and cheese without needing a single cold ingredient, you're not just surviving, you're adapting. And that's the key. Number 18, hardtack and survival biscuits. It's dry, it's tough, and it's nearly indestructible. Hardtack, the original survival food, has been around for centuries and for good reason. This rock-hard biscuit was carried by sailors, soldiers, and pioneers who needed food that wouldn't spoil, mold, or crumble under pressure. When made and stored correctly, hardtack can last decades, even over 100 years, with some historical samples still intact today. Hardtack is made from just 3 ingredients: flour, water, and salt. No yeast, no oil, nothing that can go bad over time. Once it's baked low and slow until it's completely dry, it becomes so shelf-stable it might outlive everything else in your pantry. When sealed in airtight containers or vacuum-packed with oxygen absorbers, it becomes nearly impervious to time, moisture, or pests. But let's be honest, hardtack isn't about flavor, it's about survival. On its own, it's hard to chew and bland, but that's by design. It's meant to be soaked in soup, broth, coffee, or milk where it softens and absorbs flavor. It acts as a filler, a way to stretch meals, soak up calories, and keep your stomach from going empty. Modern versions, often called survival biscuits or ration bars, take that same idea and improve on it. These bars are designed to deliver dense calories, extended shelf life, and minimal prep. They're often fortified with vitamins and built to survive extreme conditions. Some can last 20 years or more without refrigeration. Whether you're baking your own hardtack or buying ready-made emergency bars, these tough little blocks represent more than just food. They're history-tested survival. They last forever. They're nearly indestructible. And in the worst-case scenario, they might just be the first thing that saves you from hunger. Number 19, sugar and molasses. In a crisis, sweetness might seem like a luxury, but sugar and molasses are much more than that. They're long-lasting, energy-rich, and surprisingly versatile ingredients that have earned their place in every serious prepper's pantry. What makes them essential isn't just the flavor, it's the shelf life and the calories they bring to the table. Let's start with white granulated sugar. If you keep it dry and tightly sealed, sugar can last indefinitely. That's right, it doesn't spoil, it doesn't mold, and it never goes bad. It may clump over time, especially in humid environments, but that can be fixed by breaking it up or placing it with a moisture absorber. Stored in airtight containers or vacuum-sealed bags, sugar will outlast nearly everything else in your kitchen. Then there's molasses, thick, dark, and full of minerals. It's a byproduct of sugar refining, but it's got more depth. Molasses is rich in iron, calcium, magnesium, and potassium, which are hard to find in processed foods and absolutely essential in a survival diet. It doesn't last forever like sugar, but unopened molasses can stay good for 5 to 10 years, and sometimes longer when kept in cool, dark conditions. Both sugar and molasses are more than just sweeteners. They're ingredients in baking, fermentation, preservation, and even natural medicine. Sugar can help wounds heal faster when used in poultices, and molasses has been used to treat anemia and fatigue for generations. In low-energy situations, a spoonful of sugar or a bit of molasses can provide a quick energy boost and raise morale in tough moments. So don't think of these as indulgences. Think of them as strategic calories, shelf-stable, reliable, and ready to sweeten both your food and your day when the world gets bitter. Number 20, instant coffee and tea. When disaster strikes and routines fall apart, sometimes it's the smallest comforts that make the biggest difference. Instant coffee and tea might seem like luxuries, but in a long-term crisis, they serve a deeper purpose. They bring warmth, energy, focus, and a sense of normalcy, all in a tiny, lightweight package. And best of all, they last a very long time. Unopened instant coffee, especially freeze-dried, can last 20 years or more if kept in a cool, dry place. Even regular instant coffee sealed in jars or packets has a shelf life of at least 5 to 10 years, and often much longer. As for tea bags, if stored away from heat, air, and moisture, they can remain flavorful and safe to drink for several years, sometimes a decade or more. The flavor might fade slightly, but the calming effects, they remain. But there's more to these drinks than just taste. Caffeine boosts alertness, enhances morale, and helps reduce feelings of fatigue, both mental and physical. When you're tired, stressed, or cold, a hot cup of coffee or tea can become more than a beverage. It can feel like a reset button for your brain. There's also medicinal value in certain teas. Chamomile can help with sleep and anxiety. Peppermint aids digestion. Green tea offers antioxidants and immune support. In a world where medicine might be hard to find, every little edge helps. These drinks are compact, easy to store, and simple to prepare. Just add hot water. And even if fuel is low, you can cold brew them in a pinch. Whether it's your morning ritual or a way to warm your hands in the dark, coffee and tea are comfort disguised as strategy. So there you have it, 20 powerful foods you can stockpile that never expire. These aren't just pantry fillers. They're lifelines, quiet, dependable, and ready to carry you through the worst of times. If this video helped you think differently about preparedness, or if you learned something new, don't leave without hitting that like button. It tells the algorithm this content matters.